Hi everyone and welcome to Club 5 Episode 2 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM22 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So we are back with Watford for our second episode. We're going to be playing Portsmouth. The game has just been brought forward slightly just before the end of the transfer window because of a fixture change. Talking of the January transfer window, we've been fairly busy. Half a dozen guys into the club and I will introduce you to them momentarily. But here we go. Let's see how we get on today. So the first thing to tell you really is that we've been very, very successful so far since we've come into the club. We've lost one match against Stoke, who are currently in third, but you can see that we're sitting in first position by a point over Leeds United at the moment. And we've not lost a game other than that one. We've hardly conceded a goal either in the first 8 games that we've played, which is fantastic. I'll show you the schedule in a second, but before we do that, because there's some names on there that will trigger some transfer intrigue, let's go check out what we actually did in the January transfer window. So in terms of players out of the team, there weren't too many, to be honest. 1 or 2 have dropped out. 1 or 2 I got rid of just on free transfers. 1 or 2 I dropped down into the under-23s, all that kind of stuff. So ultimately, there were about half a dozen guys that were in and around my squad that have moved out of it. And we brought half a dozen in. In terms of behind my face cam, you can see at this point where I'm clicking, this was the last transfer that was done by the club before I arrived from last summer. Omar Rajic was bought in from West Brom. Below that are the ones that I've bought in over this January window. And there were a couple of positions that we needed to figure out. I have reverted back to my 4-3-1-2 formation, so I needed extra striking options, so we got one of them in. But our fullback area was one that we really needed to improve, and a little bit of squad rotation in some of the midfield as well. So those are the sort of positions that we've been working on. So let's see who we brought in. First off, we have this guy, Kieran Jackson, central midfielder, more of a sort of holding midfield player than anything else. At the age of 19, we've got him in on loan for the rest of the season from Southampton, and there'll be a theme running through these transfers that a lot of them are English or British at the least. I think we only bought 1 foreign player in because of the Brexit rules moving forward, and also young players, if we can, to either make a profit from or improve and keep in our first team and build a club like that. So those are the 2 options that we've gone for mostly in this January transfer window. So the first one in, Kieran Jackson, rotating option in central midfield, will give us a good opportunity to have a look at him. Couple of gaps in his mentals maybe. Other than that, not too bad. Next one up, I think, is actually a central defensive cover, and he's a decent enough player as well. All round, he's pretty good. Anywhere between like 13, 14 up to 17 at a height in terms of his attributes. Mentals are decent. Physicals are pretty good. In terms of the actual technicals of a defender, we've got heading, marking, a little bit of passing in there and tackling, all of a pretty good standard. So this guy, Nathan Collins, is going to come in and provide very good quality cover for my central defensive area if he doesn't actually start himself. So in he comes, Irish again, British type of player. So that's not too bad, or from the UK, should I say. Next one in is Adam Turner, bought in from Manchester City on a fee for £11 million. And this guy is going to be, again, a good young prospect. 18 years old, right fullback. For now, he's going to be the rotating option in that position behind our starter. But I think we can improve this guy. There are, again, 1 or 2 gaps here, but at 18... not a bad start. I think if we can improve his pace a little bit, if we could get 1 or 2 bits of improvement in the mentals and a couple of notches up on things like his tackling and marking, etc., I think we've got a reasonably good English right fullback here that we can work on over the next couple of seasons. So Adam Turner into the club. Next one down, a name you'll probably have known. We got him from Huddersfield for £6 million. This is our main foreign import in that sense. And it's this guy, Dam Foulon, should I say. Left fullback, Belgium international. Excuse me, as I just drift away from him. Here we go. Actually pretty decent, I would say. Little bit of experience here as well. 29 years old, but the physicals are decent. Mentals, 1 or 2 gaps maybe, but not anything specifically significant. We've got 14 in tackling, we've got 14 in passing, 12 of marking, 13 of crossing. I think this is a really good option in the Championship for a left fullback. So Dam Foulon comes into the club, and I'm pretty glad that we were able to do a deal for him. At £6 million, I don't think that's too bad. Now, the reason that we didn't go straight into our schedule page and show you the recent schedule is because one of our new players has been scoring quite a lot of goals, and it's this guy from Tottenham, Dane Scarlett. £3.8 million signing, a striker, 24-year-old English striker, 15 in finishing, 15 in composure, 15 in pace, good acceleration, good agility, off the ball is really good, little bit of strength, enough to hold the ball around him, and he's going to be really fantastic for us in the Championship, and is already showing so. We'll go and see what his scoring record is like in just a second, but Dane Scarlett has come in and made a huge impact already on the way that we play, so really happy about that one. And again, at £3.8 million signing, who's now valued at, what was he, about 11 million already? Yeah, 11 to 14. We got a bit of a bargain, I would suggest. And the last one, on loan from Manchester City, is this guy, Adam Ryan, 18-year-old central defender. This guy is really, really good for 18. And in the Championship again, will come in and do a good job for us, rotating in and out, getting some game time, improving himself as we go, but creating some really good competition for places at the age of 18. If I can keep him around, I will. I suspect it will probably be financially beyond us at some point to do that, though. But for now, we have him till the end of the season, and I'm really happy about that. And that's my transfer business for January. So, as has been mentioned already in the episode, I have changed to the 4-3-1-2. We were in the 4-3-2-1 with 2 shadow strikers, but to play that more often moving forward, I'd have needed to have bring a couple more attacking midfielders into the club to be able to rotate those positions well, and I couldn't really find the quality. And then I found Scarlett in the attacking striking role, and I thought it was best to probably just implement him into our strike force and supplement what we already had there. And then those 2 shadow strikers that we used in the first episode, the likes of Torres and Fabio Vieira, can now rotate in this role and keep each other fresh. And we've got really good options there, attacking-wise. So you can see that recent form has been really fantastic. So, of course, we're going to have a poor game today. That's the way it works. Portsmouth are sitting in 5th in the form guide, although they're down in 15th overall, so they're improving. We're sitting top of the form guide, of course. We need to continue on with that one. A couple of our new players are playing today. Couple of issues, though. We've got an injury to our reserve goalkeeper. That means he's not around for the sub bench or anything today. We've also got Kamara. Let's click on him and have a look. This guy would normally be playing in my central point of my midfield 3 as the sort of the ball-winning holding player. But he's away on international duty just at the moment. And then we've got Tony Lammy, who I'm still trying to get out the club. So he's not registered. There's still a little bit of time to go in this January transfer window, about another week. So there might be a couple of players still going out, and there might be the odd 1 or 2 that come in, possibly, depending on what I can find. The only other deal that's definitely happening is Marcao, a 32-year-old central defender, who I just felt at the age of 32 was going to start declining a little bit and didn't quite have the technicals that I was totally looking for. So it was worth getting him out of the club, getting the wages off the bill as well, because he was on substantial money, and then potentially putting it into some younger players. So in a couple of days from now, he moves to Zenit, which is fantastic for me, which means that we could put those wages to better use. So there is still 1 or 2 things that could happen. So we're in the 4-3-1-2. We're in a very attacking setup of it. We can always change that up and reduce it slightly. But with the run that we've been on recently, I felt it was good for us to keep pushing forward and keep causing problems rather than worrying too much about how we can balance our side. We're just going to attack and see what happens. And it's been working because you've seen the amount of clean sheets we've had as well. So all of that means that for today's match against Portsmouth in the Championship, we go with Marmadashvili in goal, Turner at right back, Fowlon at left back, Collins and Ryan in central defence, Douglas, Jackson and Giabi in central midfield, Torres in the shadow striker role with Alzate and Scarlett up top, and a bench of Omar Bamadili. I'm going to butcher some of these names. Mendes, White, Nakay, Vieira, Hernandez and Romero. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So even though recent form is fantastic and we are scoring a bucket load of goals and we're in an attacking setup, I don't really want to rile the players up too much by, pumping the fists and all that kind of stuff. So we're just going to chill out a little bit. So I've gone with hands together and just said, stick to the plan, stay patient, we'll be fine. Portsmouth are an improving team all the time. They're in fifth, as I say, in the form guide. So we can't take them too lightly. So hopefully with that kind of considered approach, we'll just be able to suppress the game a little bit, find our way into it, and then potentially find those goals that can take another 3 points. Portsmouth come in with a 4-4-2, so they're going to work on the wide areas a little bit more than we are. We focus a little bit more down the middle, although our fullbacks do get through a lot of work on the left-hand side to support the play. And here we go, down the left-hand side, right outside the Portsmouth penalty box. And Scarlett tries to go in the very near post, doesn't quite manage it. It ricochets out, and then Torres follows up the play in the top of the 6-yard box and pokes the ball home, having the goalkeeper already on the floor from the first effort. Good ball there from Fowlon. And the Scarlett just saw the goalkeeper shift across, tried to get it in the near post, hit the post, and Torres follows up. And we take a 1-0 lead fairly early, really. 14 minutes on the clock, so that's a decent start for us. We've had 4 shots at goal already, which is also good. Now we can settle into the game a little bit and see if we can try and get a couple more opportunities for goals. That one probably should have taken it a little bit closer and maybe fed another player in as we were running through the box, but he didn't. Scarlett, who obviously scored 4 goals in his last match, which was amazing, he decided to have a go. And can't really question him for that, really, considering the record he's currently got. So we'll see whether he gets a couple more opportunities, maybe further inside the box as the game progresses, just to continue his goal-scoring run. So Portsmouth on the ball, trying to build from the back. We've made them go long. We've pushed them a little bit into a long pass, and we do figure it out at the back. Nicely defended by the central defensive team there. And then we try and go a little bit long, a little bit too early, and they win the ball back. It feels like at the moment it's one of those where nobody really wants it. And so eventually Portsmouth have figured us out, got through the lines very, very nicely. Once we'd played long ball a couple of times each, eventually they played some very nice football and separated our defensive pair. There were 3 players on 2 for a minute there, and then one of them drops in, and it just opens up the space between fullback and central defender, actually, on the right side, and that's where the space was found for the strike to come in, and we go back to 1-1. We're still in the game very well. We're still having a lot of opportunities at goal. So, again, it's just about trying to be a little bit patient in this first half. If we're still at 1-1 or something by the time half time comes around, we'll push the button a little bit on the players. But there is the goal-scoring machine. As long as he held his run, this is what he's been doing ever since he came into the club. Just playing on that last man, running past him when the ball is played well. This time, he did just drift into a slightly offside position, unfortunately. That's really unfortunate, but it was a good bit of movement other than that. And we are getting closer to absolutely finding another goal here. But half-time comes and stops us in our tracks a little bit. We've had 9 shots at goal, 4 on target, 7 and 6 for them. That is some phenomenal shooting, really. 6 on target out of 7 shots. Decent. They've had more possession, but that's the way this formation and structure works for me in its current guise. We can reduce the passing length down, etc. at some point to try and keep the ball more if we want to. We do have a couple of tired players already, so that's something worth keeping an eye on in this second half. Right, so we were in hands together in the first opportunity to talk to them before the game. We're gonna we're going to point the finger now and just up the tension a little bit. I'm disappointed we've had little possession so far. Let's go with that one. Let's just try and get them to work on keeping the ball slightly better. As I say, we could change the style of play, but it's been very successful so far. I'm reticent to do that just at the moment. But for the last 15 minutes, if we're still at 1-1, we could potentially reduce the directness of our passing down a bit. And that could be a big blow. Torres is a very, very good influential player for us. If we just click on his attributes a little bit, you can see he's got everything we need at this level. He's now got an injury, a potential foot injury. That could cause a problem for us moving forward. Now, we've got this guy, Vieira, as another attacking midfielder who can come in and do the same sort of role, which is why we've kept this squad in the way that we have. So he can come in and play, that's fine. We might lack the rotating option now, though, for a little while if Torres is out. At 49 minutes, don't want to make any more changes. We'll just make that one and then go back into the game and see if we can try and find a way to unlock Portsmouth in the next few minutes. It does help if I press play on the game. So there we go. In we go again. Torres is very influential. That is a little bit disappointing. And that's doubly disappointing. Petrovic on the far side gets on the end of a looping cross, really. It was a well-placed cross sort of to the far post, but it was a bit looping and a bit high. You would have imagined that a defender would have been going with the player at that point and be able to challenge at least for the ball, but we weren't anywhere near him. You watch at the top of the screen, he just gets space and drifts off a little bit from his marker and gets onto the end of the ball. And fair play to them. That was good play by them and very, very poor defending by us. That's disappointing at this point. So that's the first time in a little while we've conceded one, let alone two. And again, they're first to the balls. It just feels like in their home game with their form improving all the time, they are getting to these balls a little bit quicker and a little bit more decisively and making it count a little bit more. So we're going to go and change our setup in a little minute or two once this highlight has come and gone, because we can't afford for this to drift. And that's a good save. It does save us at that point. 3-1 down would have been a problem. We'll hopefully clear the corner kick. And if we do and we can get it away, then we'll make some changes. But I don't want to do that midway through a highlight. The goalkeeper claims that one, goes early up to Scarlett, who claims the ball. And he does a really poor job of palming it off. He should have held on to that even more than he did. So let's pause the game there. Nobody's playing as well as they have been, which is really disappointing. And of course it happens when we're filming an episode, of course. So we've got issues up front. Scarlett and Alzate, both for different reasons, having poor matches. We've already made that one change in the attacking midfield area. We've got a lot of tired players. This is a bit of a problem. So we're going to make a change in midfield. Douglas will come out. Nakai goes in just to give us some more legs in midfield with a bit of energy there. We could change Foulon on the left-hand side and bring White in, but we also need to think about our strike force. Either I take off the underperforming Alzate, who's got the fitness, or I take off Scarlett, who hasn't got the fitness but is performing slightly better. I'm going Alzate to bring Hernandez back into the starting lineup. He's been the hot and cold recently since we changed a few things up. He hasn't quite found his shooting boots alongside Scarlett, so we'll give that another opportunity. I was going to go and make a couple of tactical changes as well, which we will go and do. So I've paused the game again. We're going to reduce it down to positive rather than attacking, just be a little bit more considered. We're going to reduce both of these down as well in terms of directness of passing and tempo, just to slightly keep the ball a little bit better than we have been. So that's something that I want to do. We'll put that one on as well, counter-attack there. In terms of out of possession, I think we'll just reduce the line of defence slightly. But everything else can remain the same. Nope, we're going to reduce the width on the defence as well. So I'm still playing around with this particular tactic in this club with the players that we've got, etc., to see how it all works. So it's a work in progress. And if there's any changes in the January transfer window still to come, it could change even further in terms of how we set up. So who knows? But for now, we've got to find a way back into this game. And at the moment, it really doesn't look likely. So we're going to go in and we're going to fire them up for the last 10 minutes. Just see if we can raise the tempo of what we do. It's a little bit passive today, though. Oh, no, not enough. Not a third goal. I think that would be a little bit harsh. I mean, Portsmouth have done well. There we go. Vieira doing his job, helping out in the defensive unit. Puts a brilliant ball through. Oh, it hits the woodwork. And Hernandez gets the perfect opportunity to put us back level and does not take it. And that's what he's done ever since we changed the structure of our play slightly. It has seemingly not improved him as much as it has other players. It's just about unlocking the ones that are good, and Vieira gets a long shot away again and hits the post. We're going close. We've hit the woodwork twice in the last 5 minutes of gameplay, but that doesn't count when what we need is a goal. And 5 minutes of injury time to play are just going to fly by here. I can feel it already. Maybe not. Maybe there is one more still to come. Jackson on the ball into Vieira. He's dropped in to get involved in the play. Now he begins to move forward a little bit. Poor again. Really poor again. I've been playing this game a lot over the weekend, trying to figure out the January transfer window stuff. I've seen some brilliant performances from this team already. And so far today, that happens. Scarlett holds the ball nicely, tries to put it through, and the runner does not run at the same moment. And just nothing is working until there. As I'm berating them for not doing what I want them to do, 3 minutes into injury time, they finally figure out another opportunity. And Juan Hernandez gets in behind the defenders. It's very nicely played. And there's a first-time ball from Scarlett, which takes the defence by surprise. And finally, Cucho, or Juan Hernandez, as he's otherwise known, gets in on the end of it. I think he's onside. He is. The left fullback was holding him onside. And now we go back to 2-2 with seconds left. I think we're going to have to be happy enough with a draw today, unfortunately. They're a tricky side, Portsmouth. As we saw, they're in 15th, but form-wise, they're in 5th. So they're improving all the time. And when we lost Torres, it took us a while to figure that out a little bit. You can see that we had some good average ratings from the side. Giabi played okay in midfield. Collins at the back. The goalkeeper did really well. The two strikers eventually that we finished with seemed to do okay. But Torres was the star of our show for most of the game. Having him out now could be a problem. Let's go and find out how long he's out for. So, whilst the injury could have been a lot worse, it could have been a darn sight better too. 3 to 4 weeks we've lost Facundo Torres, unfortunately. He's been phenomenal for me so far, so that is a real blow. We've got Vieira, who's going to do a decent job for us, I'm no doubt, but Facundo Torres was doing fantastically, and now he's out for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So that is a really big blow. The other thing that I can tell you is that we've retained top spot just for now, but Leeds haven't played their 29th match of this game week yet. We were earlier starting than a few other teams. So if they win their match, we will drop down to second place just at the moment. We do have a 5-point gap back to Swansea and potentially Stoke as well. So there is still a little bit of daylight between us in the top 2 to the rest of them in the playoff spots that I'd like to keep if I possibly can. We'll see how that works out for us. But for now, it could be that Leeds just overtake us into the lead in the Championship as we speak. Let's go check in with the schedule to see what we've got coming up next. We're going to get through the rest of this January transfer window. We've got a game against Norwich to play before that happens. Newcastle, we've drawn against them in the FA Cup 4th round. That could have been a better draw for us, but okay, we'll have to go with it. What we're going to come back for I think we're going to come back and play the Derby. No, we're not. We're going to come back and play the Leeds match. Again, biggish gap of amount of games that I will play between now and then. But if we play Leeds, we'll come back and play probably Forest and then Reading to finish off the season. Those are the next few episodes. We'll get through this half a season pretty well, reset ourselves again in the summer, dependent on where we are, of course, whether it's the Championship or the Premier League, etc., and then see where we move forward with this squad as the future seasons come. So that's the plan for this current season. It's just giving myself enough time to properly bed in and find out about all of these players and see if we can maybe make one more transfer in. Who knows? We'll have to see. In terms of finances of the club, we're doing okay. 13.7 in the bank, 4.1 in the transfer fund still 500k we could spend on wages. We've saved a lot on wages in the January window by bringing in some youngsters, getting rid of some aging players, etc. So there is still some wriggle room in terms of transfers. I'm going to see what I can do with that. And I will see you back here next episode for a future game with Watford and see whether we're still in that top 2 looking for automatic promotion at that point. But until then, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. Always the more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That'll help us get seen by more people. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.